There you go. Hi, Monica.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you today?
I am actually having a pretty decent day, so I can't complain. Feeling
Good.
pretty good. Yes.
That's great news. Welcome to this episode of Vestibular Talks.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm excited and nervous at the same time, but I'm excited for what you're doing on here, so I am just happy to be a part of it.
Right now, thank you. I appreciate it, especially because you're a very positive person. You have a lot of following in social media that you like to encourage and motivate every day. So I'm very excited that we're going to do this together.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Monica. So you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, I am from the United States. I live in North Dakota. We're actually kind of neighbors, not too far away. Um, and then I am married for almost 9 years to my husband, Chris, and we are a blended family with 6 children. And a lot of people cannot believe that, but we do. They range from 13 to 22, and we got great kids, cannot complain. Other than
Nice.
that, I am a stay-at-home mom, even though my kids are in school, and I am a worship leader. I volunteer at my church a lot, and I host small groups, and I'm just really involved in that area in my life. So
Okay.
other than that, I don't actually have a full-time job. So,
Okay. Worship leader, you are very involved with your faith,
oh
and
yes.
it's very noticeable in your social media accounts that you're very involved with your faith. How has your faith helped you out during these moments of darkness with this condition?
Oh my goodness. A lot, I guess. Gosh, that's a loaded question. Should I maybe say what I have first and
Sure,
then
let's give a little bit of
that?
introduction. Yeah.
Okay. So, because then maybe it'll be a little bit easier to explain why if anything, my faith has really grown through this experience because I feel like when your life crumbles in front of you almost, you have to turn somewhere. And that's where my faith really amped up. So I guess I'll just kind of tell what happened to me.
Okay.
So I live a pretty normal life. Like I said, was involved in church, doing the kid thing, going to games and all my kids' activities. Um, let's see. Okay, sorry, we were a little echoey there. So I also I had a back surgery in 2017, and I was kind of recovering from that, and like all life was great. You know, I was getting better. I went through physical therapy, and then summertime came and we went on a family vacation. When I got back from this family vacation, I can remember it to the day, to the time. It was June 5th, 2017. A lot of my followers, I say that day a lot because you don't forget it. And and so that evening, I was just watching TV with my husband before bed, and all of a sudden, I just felt anxiety come on me. And I don't have a history of that.
Okay.
Um, it was a very panicky, like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Like, I just felt like this heaviness come on me, and I was like, Chris, I think you need to take me to the hospital because something's not right. I started feeling very detached from my body.
Yeah.
Um, it was just terrifying. And he's like, no, you're going to be okay. And he tried to get me calmed down. And to speed it all up, because keep in mind, my whole journey started over 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in that time frame, the panic and the anxiety, it didn't stop. If anything, things just escalated daily. And I actually wrote down what I was experiencing just so I could say it quickly here. Basically, I had night and day anxiety. It never stopped. I had nausea 24/7,
Mm-hmm.
ear pressure, fullness in my ears, pain. My heart raced 24/7. I was sensitive to touch and sound, insomnia, brain fog, memory loss, tinnitus. Let's see, what else was there? I couldn't finish my thoughts or sentences. And then all of these things kind of progressed. It wasn't just in one day all this stuff
Yep.
happened. It was a progression. but literally sick every day at this point. And then the vision issues started to happen to me.
Yes.
That's a whole subject in itself.
Yes.
Yes. Then the derealization, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Sensitivity to light, weight loss, fear, and then the dizziness. I want to say it took a year to get diagnosed.
Okay.
And so they eventually diagnosed me with PPPD, which is persistent postural perceptual dizziness. And the difference between people with vertigo and dizziness, and what kind of made me a little bit different with that diagnosis, is I don't spin. It's the swayiness.
Yes.
So I think that's kind of what makes it a little bit different than even with somebody with like vestibular migraines, maybe. I don't know. I know you have a little bit of both, I think.
Well, some doctors call it vestibular migraines. Some other ones have insinuated that I have PPPD because of the exact same description that you gave. That I don't spin. I don't have actual vertigo. I'm constantly going from side to side.
Yes. And it's scary. So
it's the most concerning thing, and what creates the most anxiety with this condition is that it's so unexpected. It just hits you out of the blue. Like you were saying, you were watching TV with your husband, having a normal life, regular day, and all of a sudden you just felt that change in you. And that's the most scary part, because you don't know what's happening to your body.
Right. And plus I was expecting it to be gone the next day.
You know,
I thought maybe I am having a panic attack. Maybe I'm just stressed out. I don't know. But like deep down, I know myself, and I'm like, I'm not a stressed out person. I'm not over busy in my life. I don't pack on a lot of stuff in my day. So none of it made sense. And so, but yeah, once things didn't start going away, I'm like, we have a problem here. Like, I need help. And of course, that started the whole doctor visits, and originally they just wanted to diagnose me with anxiety disorder and panic disorder.
Yes. It's very common. Doctors try to push it that way first.
Yes. And
Monica.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, so you mentioned that it took you about a year to get the official diagnosis.
Yes.
In between that year period, did they do any testing or anything in order to diagnose you?
A little bit. So one key thing too, we really thought it had something to do with my ears, because prior to getting sick that day, I did have issues in my ears where they would plug up a lot and they would feel full a lot. And it happened for a couple of years and I never did anything about it. So we now know that my PPPD was triggered from an ear issue.
Okay.
So for people, because I know that PPPD can be caused by different things, but I just wanted to state that was kind of my trigger that kind of set things off. So of course we went to an ENT, and ENT could not find anything wrong with me. And I remember just crying, because I'm like, no, it's my ears. I know it's my ears. I have all this stuff going on. And throughout the year too, I did have a lot of ear infections. I would also have fluid in my ears and things like that, but they couldn't find anything other than just an ear infection occasionally. And so I refused to take there's nothing wrong with you for an answer. So of course I was like, I need to see another ENT because something's wrong. So I went through 3 ENTs. The third ENT actually was the guy that referred me to Mayo Clinic, which I'll explain later. I saw a neurologist who diagnosed me with nystagmus, which I don't have nystagmus. Just a little side note there. She was just basically trying to find something to say there was something wrong with me. She couldn't find anything. That sounds terrible, but that's how it was. And I remember leaving that visit in tears, because I was like, I'm not, I love the medical field, and there's parts of it that I don't like, because I don't feel like it's okay to treat people like crud either. I'm just going to say that
No,
boldly.
yeah, it's true. It's true.
You know, there's some really great doctors out there, but
Mm-hmm.
there are some where I don't think it's okay just to think, you know, and maybe diagnose somebody with something when they're way off too, you know, and the symptoms weren't even there.
Yeah.
So I had an MRI, totally normal.
Good.
And I also had a VNG done. That was wonderful.
that one is not fun.
No, it's not. I'll be honest, but I agree it is necessary for a lot of people.
Yes.
And they did find mine was somewhat abnormal, but not enough to find an actual issue.
Okay.
Okay. And they also tried to diagnose me, the ENT, with BPPV.
Yep, that's the first thing they go to.
Yep, and they did all the maneuvers, and we're like, the crystals are off in your ears, and I'm like, no, my crystals are fine.
Yeah, same with me, same thing. Yeah.
So that was that, and it wasn't until I went to this third ENT that was out of my town.
Okay.
I drove an hour and a half away to a guy that was highly recommended, that had been practicing for over 30 years. And my sister was like, he's good. He knows what he's talking about. Go get his, you know, opinion on your case. And he, once again, he was so kind though. He's like, you may have had an ear issue that resolved because you no longer have an ear issue, but I can't explain why you are currently feeling the way you're feeling. And he was the one that referred me to Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota.
Okay.
Yes. And that's when everything changed for me. Because in that year time, I couldn't function as a human being. There was actually not a lot of quality of life. I couldn't hardly leave my house. I couldn't walk outside because everything wasn't as it seemed.
Yeah,
so,
life changes completely.
Yeah.
That's true.
And one other thing with my condition is I forgot to mention that I had to see a neuro eye doctor.
Yeah.
And so I have prisms in my glasses, but that was my first sign of relief as well.
The neuro-optometrists, they give you visual exercises to help you with your eyes, and they also give you the prisms in the ear lenses.
Yep, and that was huge for me because I not only had problems with my perception of things, but I always like to tell people the story because it's so wild. Where when they were doing the testing on me, she had these two sticks, and she's like, on the end of these sticks is a little ball, and she's like, I want you to follow the sticks with your eyes and tell me when I'm right in front of your nose. And so she goes down like this, and she's like, tell me when to say, you know, say stop when it's there. And literally it was down here. And so my vision, my perception of things were off. That's why I couldn't drive. I couldn't go into stores or anything. So I feel to say that because there are some people that aren't getting that tested.
Yes, and it's very important. That's how they measure your convergence excess or convergence deficiency. So yes, it's very important.
So anybody that's reached out to me since, I'm like, you need to get that checked if you're having a lot of visual issues.
Yeah. No, I am the same because I was explaining to my family that when I look at something that has patterns, it almost looks like they are lifting, like they are 3D coming at me. So and they don't get it. So it's trippy, yeah. Monica, for triple PD, so triple PD is not very well known because most people get diagnosed with BPPD or vestibular migraines.
Yeah.
Triple PD is also very, very important because it has a lot of the same symptoms as the other vestibular conditions.
Yeah.
But what about treatment? Do they give you any medicine for it? Did they give you any sort of exercise that will help you out?
Right. Well, okay. So when I went to Mayo Clinic at Mayo Clinic, I saw a neurologist, and then I saw what I call the dizzy doctor. And he essentially is a psychologist that deals with dizzy patients. And I found out there's actually only 2 of them at Mayo Clinic there that specifically deal with dizzy patients. And I was able to get into one pretty quick, which was amazing. Yeah. And I remember that day, I was I was in that worst state as well. And I remember seeing him, and he comes back into the room after we chatted, and he brought this little pamphlet or whatever, and he's like, this is what you have, and I'm looking at it, and he's reading it through it with me. I remember just tears running down my face because I'm like, this is me to the T. You know, you go a year suffering, and just to get even just that answer, I was like, okay, now we can start getting better, you know. And so anyways, his treatment plan generally is, first and foremost, vestibular therapy is key. It is absolutely key because you got to get the balance stuff under control. And so it was that, and he also suggested cognitive and behavioral health therapy. So basically, like a psychologist, that basically what they're going to do is help get you out into your environment, give you techniques on how to handle life. And that is important as well, okay? The other thing is, what was cool was he actually did not push meds on me, because that is one thing that can help. Supposedly SSRIs can help triple PD patients. But so what he said to me was, he's like, I tried two, I think, within the last year, but unfortunately for me, I couldn't do well with those meds. They would overstimulate me even more. And even on a baby dose, I couldn't handle it. And so he's like, that's totally okay. He's like, let's get you started with the VRT and the other therapy. And he said, generally though, after 4 to 6 months, if you're not improving a lot, he really suggests going on the SSRI. Okay. That is not the path I did though. So I ended up, I have tried more, but the same thing kept happening. I couldn't get over the hump of, because I understand, you know, you got to get used to those medications, but when you have triple PD, you're already in a heightened state. Yes. It's hard to get past even just a week of taking those kind of things. And so instead, my vestibular therapist decided to have me see an OT that did vision therapy with me. So I went and did that. And I also saw a speech therapist who worked on kind of brain health, because the brain fog was so bad. And yeah, but my biggest help, to be honest, well, first the VRT and then my OT. She was incredible. I like highly praise her all the time, because she went beyond her duty to help me. Because keep in mind, none of my therapists were familiar with triple PD.
Yeah.
And so on their own time, they learned about this diagnosis to really help me more than any doctor or anything. My therapists were the best. So I've had the most help with the vision therapy as of now.
And of course, with your faith, because you're very committed to your faith.
Yes.
I noticed that you even take onto your social media to teach people some of the basic visual exercises and things like that to help them out. And that's fantastic. I appreciate that, Monica, because not everybody has the financial means to seek the help that they need with whether it's triple PD or something else.
Yeah.
So the name New Life Sparrow, where does that come from? New Life Sparrow.
That's so cool that you asked me that. Well, Sparrow has just been kind of my thing for a long time. It's actually my license plate even.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the Lord talks about the sparrow in the Bible a lot, and how he keeps his eye on the sparrow, because sparrows are looked at as just kind of like little birds that are just kind of like all over the place and whatever. But the thing is, he loves them, he says in scripture. And so I've just always just been drawn to that. And New Life, I go to a church called New Life Church. And so I just believe with my faith, I've been given new life. I used to be a former drug alcoholic addict in my 20s and my teens, and he's just completely changed my life. And the way I look at things now, and the biggest thing I've learned since getting sick, first of all, I have so much compassion for people even beyond
Yes.
Like I thought I had, compassion before, but it is at a different level because like I have such a heart for the sick now, even though I still deal with stuff on the daily basis. But what I've learned is, and it's cool because it's not only biblical, but it's also scientific that we have to fill our days with joy. We have to laugh every day. We can't be stuck in this place of where we're constantly checking our symptoms and we're constantly stuck in our home, because we're going to be stuck there if we do.
Yes.
And, and so that's where, I read the word every day. I pray. Obviously I'm a worship leader, so I play my piano a lot, and it just brings a lot of peace to me. And the thing is, I have had people ask me, they're like, how are you getting better so much quicker? And I think that is why.
It is. Oh, sorry to interrupt. I was just gonna say, I've seen that change in you because I've been following your account for a little while now, and lately I've seen just that brightness, that joy in you, and you're having more positive and more healthy days than dark days. Because at the beginning, when I follow your account, you were really focusing on the dizziness, on the brain fog. But lately, I've seen that switch in your personality where you're just full of energy, full of joy, full of happiness, and it seems to be helping you. Like it seems to be to be converting your physical health and your mental health into a more positive way.
Yes. Well, thank you for saying that, because one thing, as you may know, when you are dealing with a chronic illness, you may not always see the changes in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so it actually is a big deal when somebody says, hey, I noticed you were doing this or you were doing that. And so even in my daily life, just people in general, I like to point out, say, hey, I just noticed you were doing this or that, or whatever. Really encourage people more, because it really does make a difference in everybody's life, to be honest. You don't have to be sick for that,
Yes.
But no, I guess I'm just to the point now where, because I started this channel, honestly, my New Life Sparrow channel on YouTube a long time ago, because I thought it was going to be more worship based. Like I wanted to teach people about that part of my life. And it's turned into this thing where for one, I got sick in the process, but so I'm talking about my journey with healing. Yes. But also one of the key things is, if you notice on my page, I have some random funny videos that I do with my kids, but there's a purpose for that. It's because we're not supposed to just be focused on our illness all the time. We need to have fun. We need to mix it up. And one other thing I want to say about that was key for me healing, and it's a challenge daily, but I feel I really need to say this, and I say this to everyone that I meet. Wherever you're at on your healing journey, whether you're at that beginning stages where you can't even hardly walk, or where you are a lot better, kind of, where I'm at right now, one of the biggest things, outside of prayer and all of that stuff, is getting out and doing something.
Yes.
And I went to this program in Canada, and they really talked about this, and it's called incremental training. Like, you literally have to rewire your brain. Mm-hmm. You have to go out and be like, oh, okay, so this may not look normal right now, but it used to. And so we have to get our brains seeing these things on the daily basis, because over time, those neurons are gonna like come together, and they're gonna
connect again.
Yes, and because the thing is, one other thing sorry, I can be a chatterbox sometimes.
No, go ahead. I love it. It's really helpful information. So yeah.
Okay. Because the thing is, in order to heal, like I said, we have to, rewire our brains. We have to make all these connections. And the thing is, it involves, like me yesterday, because I talked to you, my week was a little iffy this week. Yep. But ultimately, I still, the next day, went out to the same place where I had a bad experience in the store. But the thing is, I didn't have that same experience that I did the day before, and to not have that fear attached to that certain place. Yep. Because ultimately, if we stay stuck in that fear-based place, or okay, so I can't go here because this happened, that's going to keep us stuck.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. You need to condition yourself with adapting and doing that habitual, like repetition until you're comfortable with it. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Monica, I wanted to ask you, who's your biggest support? Because I've seen on your page that your family is very close to you, your children, your husband is extremely
Yeah.
supportive.
Yeah.
Who has been your biggest support during your sister as well has been a great support for
Yeah.
you. So you have like a great network of supporters. Like who else supports you in this process?
Yeah. When it boils down, because the thing is, on the daily, I know it may seem like I talk about my stuff a lot in this condition, but on the daily, I actually try not to, because I'm trying to get better.
Yes.
Like, I'm doing my stuff, but I really believe you have to watch what you're saying over yourself and what you're putting into your mind. And so on the daily, outside of YouTube and Instagram and all of that, I try to keep things pretty chill. But the thing is, my husband, he knows. He can just look at me and he'll know what kind of day I'm having, which in a way is a good thing, because that way I don't have to say it and he just knows what to do to help me. I have to give him praise, because like he has sacrificed so much. I'm not gonna tear up, but he's my number one. But basically the people you said were my biggest supporters, and my OT. I'll just say her first name, Shauna. She was life-changing for me, because like I said, I went through all the doctors and I didn't feel like they really had much compassion for me. I get really emotional when I talk about certain things, but sorry.
No, it's okay.
But it was just so refreshing to have people, the therapist, be 100% behind me and research like they did, and just be like, we're going to help get you better, you know? And so she was huge in my healing process. So I'm grateful for her.
Great. Monica, with these conditions, whether it's triple PD, vestibular migraines, or any chronic illness, the main thing is patience, correct? Like you have to be patient with yourself, with your body. And I know you're 2 years into your journey, and 2 years might seem like a long time, but you're ahead of the game. You're ahead of the game, because many people are in their third, 4th year with medicine, and they are not even close to where you're at right now. And so you're healing really quickly. 2 years, I know, seems like a long time, but 2 years in, no medicine. But look at you, like you're radiant, like you're happy. So that's great news. And patience, of course, patience is a big thing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, that is the biggest thing. The first year I was sick, I was stuck in that state of panic. That's the first thing. You have to get yourself out of that. And I'll be honest, like, and I've been very open about this on my channel. If you need some medicine to help you get out of that place, that is okay.
Of course.
It is okay. Because I did, because the thing is, you are stuck in fight or flight. Your body, your brain, and your vestibular system is just like, your limbic system is essentially working a million times per second. It's insane. And you have to get out of that first. That's like the first thing, because I don't think I could have had that patience that first year. But like I said, I was in, I didn't know what was happening, but once I finally got the diagnosis, I finally got into therapies, and it's true. That's when I started learning to slow down, be kind to myself, and realize too, I'm going to have a hiccup now and then. Like I did this week, I kind of had a bump. It was a bigger bump than I wanted, but it happened. But the next day I was much better. And I do want to say, and keep in mind, with triple PD, I don't have any days symptom free. That is one other thing. I don't know if that's the case for other people with vestibular issues. It's just, I can now function though. I can go anywhere I want by myself. I can go into the grocery store, which I couldn't do before. I couldn't drive. I couldn't even be a passenger for a long time. And so the only thing I can't really do yet is drive on the interstate at high speeds for a long time. But
that's coming soon. That's coming soon. You're gonna
I just have to practice and get my brain used to doing that. And that's the thing. Be patient, because this essentially is very similar to a traumatic brain injury. And people with a traumatic brain injury, you don't instantly, snap your fingers and everything's okay. It takes time and patience.
I believe it's because we are so used to assuming that this is like a cold. So you get a cold and you expect to get better in the next couple of days. But you're right. This is more of a like a traumatic brain injury or a concussion that it takes time for your body to retrain itself again.
Yes.
Monica, what does the future hold for you? What are your future plans?
Oh goodness, that's a big question. Okay. Well, okay, it's so funny you asked this question. If you would have asked me this question prior to getting sick, I'll tell you what I would have said, because I was always very much looking into the future long term, like, I want to see this happen, I want to do this, I want to blah, 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 I want to write these songs, and because I write songs too. And so like I was very way out in the future, okay? And not always in the moment. Mm-hmm. I'm more so day to day, but I am still looking to the future. I do have goals. There's a secret project that I'm looking forward to. I don't want to tell anybody yet because it's more so like stuff that I'm interested in. Okay. So as far as like design and stuff, so kind of like a hobby. So I've got some things brewing, but I'm not pushing myself. Okay. But I love that I'm actually having desires again. Yes. Because another thing, when you are in the really bad stages, I lost all my passion for everything.
Yes.
And now I'm actually in that place of like, oh, I want to do this. Like for instance, I'm going to be hosting a small group for my church coming up here in a couple weeks. And so I'm looking forward to that. That's a future thing. And like I said, I want to write songs, I want to do things, but I definitely am day to day more so. But I feel hopeful about my future. And one of the biggest things I have to say is, and I say this on my videos a lot, I refuse to stay sick. I refuse. Because I know there are some people that have been sick with this for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. I met one person and I'm like, no, that's not how we are supposed to live our life, Mm-hmm. And that's the thing is I'm just going to be patient. I'm going to do what I need to do daily, mm-hmm. my therapies, with my prayer, with this or that. And I know I'm going to heal from this. I know it. I don't have doubt of it.
I have faith that we all going to heal. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, Monica, before we go, is there anything that you'd like to say to the people that are watching us, like any big advice that you want to let them know in case that they are going through this or through any other chronic illness?
It's funny because I actually did write down a few things that I wanted to say as please. Overall. And I probably said some of these things, but just as a recap, I don't know if you're a believer or not, but whether you are or not, pray. It makes a difference. It really does. You really need to lower stress in your life. Now, I know that's not, like I recently talked to somebody where their husband has PPPD and they just had a newborn and a toddler. You're going to have to learn what to do in that situation. Yes. But the thing is, you make small adjustments, but lowering stress in your life is so important in some way. I plan my days. Or I try to. I don't overload my days. So I'll try to do some incremental training. I'll run 1 or 2 errands. Mm-hmm. So try to do something every day that will get you out. And essentially that goes into my next one because that's retraining your brain because mm-hmm. that's how you get better. Try not to be so symptom focused.
Yes.
I know it's so hard. If you have to turn music on or listen to a podcast that's not about your symptoms, or, yes, it's okay to educate yourself, but don't make it your whole day. Okay. You need to laugh, have fun, and don't isolate yourself. I know that's a lot of stuff, but that's basic stuff that's really going to help change things. And of course, do things that your doctor feels you need to do to get better, whatever that was.
Of course. Yeah. Monica, would you like to invite everybody to follow you on Instagram and follow your pages and watch your videos?
Yeah, sure. On YouTube, it's New Life Sparrow. And then Instagram, I had to add a number. So it's New Life Sparrow 23. And yeah, I'd like to say, like you said, I try to keep it pretty positive. I'm not always going to post about the triple PD, but I do like to encourage people, and I'm always available to chat. Always. Like, I will visit with anybody that wants to talk to me, because I know what it was like back when I first got sick. I didn't know anybody with my diagnosis back then. And back then it would have been nice to talk to somebody that understood. Yes. And so that's why I'm an open book for anybody.
You know, Monica, God bless you, because it is true. You made a difference in my life. When I was first experiencing this and I had no idea what was happening to me, watching your videos and talking to you and getting that reassurance from you that everything will get better slowly helped me turn things around. I stopped focusing on the darkness and I started leaning more towards the positive and the positive changes that we can make in other people's lives. So thank you.
You're welcome.
You're an earth angel. You're an earth angel. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you for doing this, because I also believe this is super important as well, because I believe these kind of diagnoses are getting overlooked, you know, and so there does definitely need to be more awareness about it. So thank you.
All right. No, anytime. All right, Monica, well, have a fantastic day, and thank you for this, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Bye.